I believe very nice. Oh, should we add you to the screen? That would be nice, wouldn't it?
I think I'm here.
No, I don't know that you are.
I am.
Oh, let's put you up. What's happened here? Yes, you are. Yes, hooray.
Sorry.
Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Technical error of the finger, that's known as.
Yeah, computer error. Computer said no.
I'm kind of a bit wary about moving about too much. The spring strap thing underneath my backside on this sofa is feeling a little dubious, shall we say. So if I suddenly disappear down a foot, you know that I've disappeared onto the floor. And send a big fireman to come and get me out. Yeah. Did your broom break down, Heather?
Sorry?
Did your broom break down?
Yeah, a bit of a technical issue in the broomstick department. Yeah, son's karate lesson Zoom thing went horribly wrong, and yeah, so yeah. Anyway, I am arrived.
Hooray, she's in the room. So we've got a few people in. We've got Lee, hello. We've got Redwing, hello, hello. We've got Hannah, who was bright and early, hello. I'm very pleased with herself that she managed to get here today. So that's brilliant. And we've got Frankie's Finds, hello. Who else have we got? That's it, you and me, hurrah. And might be a couple of lurkers. If you're lurking, hello. If you can say hello, say hello. Oh, and hello. So, Heather,
what have I? Well, I had to do some quite involved confidence building magic to be able to drive my new camper van home from Reading town centre all the way home on the motorways, especially when I realised that the indicators and the washer wipers are on the other side.
Oh, so did you go that way, that way, that way?
Well, I did put the washer wipers on just once. I have to keep sort of doing this in my hand, going, this is the hand for the indicators. So, you know, it does your head in, but...
Yeah, you get used to it eventually, don't you? I think it's the Japanese one, isn't it? So I suppose that's the reason behind it.
But it's driving home from somewhere you don't know in a vehicle you've never driven before, which is very different because you're so much higher up, and it's quite sort of grunty in its own way. And so we had to do some magic for a safe journey, and we did. So because whenever I get in the car, I don't know about you, but whenever I get in a car, I always do a little penty, you know, protection, visualize protection.
Yeah. What did you do differently this time then? So obviously it was something brand new. So rather than the normal, as you say, the normal penty and protection thing that you'd normally use, what did you use that was different this time?
Well, she's got a couple of crystals rattling around in her. I did take a couple of crystals with me. It was mainly, you know, I mainly had to make sure that I stayed very calm. Because, you know, I've driven Fords for years, so to drive something completely different was a bit of an ask. But you know, I just literally had to have a bit of a word with myself and say, no, come on, the only way you're going to get this home is if you drive, and we'd like to get back in one piece, so just shut up and get on with it.
Did you do visualization and stuff like that? I
did. Quite as soon as I knew I was going to get her, I kind of put myself into, oh, what's she going to be like to be driving, and it's a pleasurable thing. So yeah, I suppose in that sense it wasn't a big surprise when I did jump in. It was like, oh, okay, because of course the first thing I had to do was reverse her out. It's like, okay. No parking sensors, but you know, you kind of do it gently, don't you? You do it cautiously.
Yeah, very, very slowly.
But I tend to take it so much for granted because visualization is my primary way of doing anything. That but yes, of course I did. I envisage how it's going to be. I always advance plan things like that, and I guess that is a form of magic. Although I do take it for granted. You're right.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? You sort of, you assume that it's one of those things that everyone does, and you just it becomes one of the run-of-the-mill things, and then it's not until you talk to somebody that you realise that maybe not everybody does the same thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. Just imagining myself driving it and being in that higher position, and because I knew it had a really short nose on it, but you really can't see the end of the bonnet, so it's almost like you're
Yeah.
right at the front.
Well, imagine really that it's about 6 inches in front of your toe, don't you? And that's about it, really.
Well, pretty
But you're
much,
straight
yeah.
to the front.
I mean, you drove the yellow peril, didn't you? Oh, well, I call it the yellow peril. That's not what you called her. But then that was the manual and yeah,
The banana bus.
the banana bus, exactly. But yeah, you know, I mean, luckily it's an automatic, so I didn't have to be dealing with that. I'd probably struggle a bit with a manual for a bit longer, I think. And I wanted automatic just because it makes town driving so much easier, and
Yeah, there is that.
you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I've still yet to find out where everything is and what it does. But I'm just, you know, the universe will provide. It'll all be all right.
Yeah, it'll be all right on the night, as they used to say. Oh, we've got Susie in. Hello. Who else have we got? Anyone else? Yeah, it's a strange sort of thing, really, isn't it? Because I mean, I used to do a similar sort of thing when I was teaching driving. You know, and especially if certain pupils, I used to do considerably more protection than other ones. Oh my God, boy, was I out of pure controls. Yeah. So yeah, that was quite testing at times. But you know, yeah, it was exactly the same thing. And there was, you know, some things that were very much more evident and prominent that I'd do with, you know, with some of them than I would with other ones. And again, that kind of depended on them. And it might depend on their character, or it might depend on their driving abilities or attitudes.
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Overconfidence being a problem.
I don't know about that. But, yeah. You kind of get thrown all sorts of curveballs really when you're doing that job. It's interesting. So yeah, but you just get used to doing the same sort of thing. I don't know about you, but I always talk to my cars because for me, things are not inanimate objects. I don't know how you feel about that, but pretty much everything for me has got some kind of animistic property to it. You know, whether it's my sofa, you know, and I'll sit on it and I'm like, you know, don't give out on me or whatever. And you know, even little things like that, you know, or I'm finding the right pan when I'm doing some cooking or whatever. I just talk to everything as though it's a person. But I do, and I don't know. It's just my connection with it, I suppose.
I do it a bit as well.
Yeah.
When I first got into the car, I'd been into the van. I'd been informed by the previous owners that this van had been previously known as Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeff has become slightly gender fluid because it's now going to be Blessed Bee. And they looked at me slightly strangely because they didn't understand.
Yeah.
I said, well, you know, all my cars have been female. I don't know why. They just are, and she is. So when I got in, I had a word with her. I said, listen, I know you were Jeff, but you're not now. You're Blessed Bee, and you're mine.
You get male bees.
You can be gender neutral if you wish, but you'll be a Blessed Bee.
Yeah. Well, you get bees of all varieties, don't you? And some
exactly.
that for. I mean, yeah.
It's not really specific, is it?
No, exactly. A bee is a bee is a bee. So there you go. How funny.
But I do talk to things sometimes, yes. And I know people think I'm slightly nuts, but it kind of works generally.
Yeah, I mean, I just do. I talk to everything. I talk to my house. I talk to my furniture. I talk to my car. I talk to everything in my house. I don't know. I'm sure people think I'm bonkers, but I don't care.
Exactly. Works for you.
So what does Jill say? Always talks to the vacuum cleaner. I say, come on, as I pull it around like it's a dog on the thing.
It sounds like the kind of dog that's like dragging a breeze block around. It's like, come on.
Oh, I love that. That's brilliant. Nice one.
Yeah, rather than the sort of dog that pulls you along.
Oh God, yeah, they're a little less easy to handle. Those ones. They're like, come on, we'll go for a walk.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yes. Yeah. I could just imagine her talking to the Hoover actually like that. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. So have you been out in her very much? In the Blessed Bee?
Well, I actually haven't taken her for a drive since getting her back here. Because of complications with parking, and it was better to leave her where she was until we had a parking permit for her. Now I've moved her into a parking spot so the other car can be sold. It's all a bit complicated. I will take her out for a run, but all I've gone in her and I've turned the seat round and I've pulled the bed out, and I couldn't get it up again either. I couldn't get the rock and roll bed to rock and roll upright.
She likes it done.
Exactly. I think there must be a technique. So I had a word with her about that and said, "No, come on, don't leave me with that next time, because there won't always be three of us around to shove her back into place."
Exactly.
But yeah, there's lots of things I need to learn about her, which is, how do I know if the leisure batteries run out, and what do I need to do? How does the gas cylinder thing work? There's lots of questions, but I'll get there in the end. And it was just nice sitting in her. It's so light and bright to sit in. It's lovely.
Isn't it? Yeah. Oh, but you can't wait for your first proper trip.
Well, exactly. I'm hopefully planning to do something half term, and I'm hoping by half term, which is not, well, it's after next week. So hopefully by then the really filthy weather will be moved on.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? I want to do some weather magic.
Well, I'm doing my best for the weekend because some friends of ours are having a party, but we're not sure whether we're going to try and go for Saturday or Sunday. And to cover that big a time span is very hard work.
Yeah, that is.
So, but it'll be what it'll be. It'll be all right. But yeah, I'm hoping to go just for a couple of nights somewhere very local to me, literally up the road, just to get with an electric hookup so that I haven't got the palaver, and give it a go, really.
Yeah. How exciting.
Maybe it was trying to tell me that it's Jeff. Yes, Frankie's fine. No, that it wasn't it telling me. It was the previous owners were very keen to tell me it had been known as Jeff.
Yeah. Maybe the blessed being never quite liked being called Jeff, and it was just one of those, those like situations, and let it all hang out. Maybe it was that.
And they'd only had her for about a year anyway, so
really,
and they had a converted.
That novelty factor wearing off, wasn't it?
It's never been used. I mean, literally, it looks like they camped in it once, maybe twice. They never used the sink. I don't think they used the cooker apart from a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Strange people, but very happy because it is in great nick.
Yeah, fantastic. That's what you need. Definitely.
So she is my broomstick, my BB.
That's brilliant. I've been doing
lettering for her. I've got lettering for her that says "Blessed Bee."
Have you?
And a little white bee that goes on.
Oh, what colour have you gone for the lettering?
White, because she's black.
Oh.
I thought about yellow, and I thought, no. Let's just stick with white. It's a bit less in your face.
I've gone for gold because that's almost yellow, but not quite so in your face.
True, but it was easier to get white, to be honest, at this stage. Yeah. I can always change it out.
Yes. So is it going to be B central on the inside?
No, because I don't think I can keep that up and live with it, in a confined space. Yellow and black would be a bit. So I haven't really decided what to do with her interior, but she's basically got white units and grey upholstery. So you can put anything in, really.
You can have accent pillows.
I could have accent pillows. I could have all sorts. I've been looking.
Yeah.
Trying to restrain myself.
Because once you start looking, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, isn't it? And it's like, I could have one of those.
It's like, 2 hours later, and you've got 60 million tabs open. Yeah, right.
Yes, been there, done that, bought the bloody lot. Yeah.
Oh, Susie was channeling my energies to get no rain for last night because they had an outdoor moot, and it worked.
Yes. Ah, yay!
Well done. Anyone can do it, seriously.
It's quite interesting because I was talking to Tina, that's on here sometimes. I was talking to Tina on Sunday, and she was asking about your weather magic, actually, which was quite interesting. And she was sort of saying, what kind of thing do you do? And I said, well, it's almost like a lack of weather that you go for, isn't it? So where it's been dreadful and lots and lots of clouds, then it's just asking for nothingness almost, and that's kind of what you managed to achieve, where there's no rain, no wind, no no, nothing. It's literally just a lack of weather, isn't it?
Well, a sunny day really is a lack of weather, yeah. Or at least what I tend to do, if I kind of analyse it, and it's a sort of a slightly cloudy day, is I tend to find a patch of blue in the sky. And I have to credit Maureen Brown, my original hyper-hostess, with discussions about this. And you find a patch of blue and then you just try and gently expand it. You just imagine it. Now, I have to say that weather magic doesn't necessarily work if you've got a massive, great low moving across the country, as we have right now, because it's too big, it's too much. But if you've got little localized things or something that could just nudge over a bit, I'm not trying to say don't rain. What I'm saying is, could you just rain over there? Not here. And you'll see me blowing away the clouds. I'm like, go away. Not here. I'm very gentle about it. I'm not trying to order the universe about, because I'm not that bloody arrogant. But it tends to work. Certainly not always, but sometimes it works really well.
Well, it works a treat when I did the hand fasting a few years ago for some friends of mine, and we had an entire weekend. And what was so bizarre was that it was from the main road. There was a sort of a small country lane, followed by a sort of a dirt track to get where I was going, and it was absolutely lashing down that particular weekend. Hence the panicky phone call halfway. And as we turned off the main road onto the country lane, it eased off a little bit. And as we turned into the dirt track, it just stopped, and it just was nothing. And it just didn't rain. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. We had a little bit of sunshine here and there throughout the course of the next 3 days, but that was that. But what was really interesting was that as we left, which was so I got there on the Friday, and as we left on the Monday, the campsite, fields and woods where the hand fasting was, dry as a bone. As we went through the little sort of dirt track, we started to get a bit of drizzle. By the time we got onto the country lane, it was kind of raining properly, but not very hard. Got onto the main road and deluge. And it was like, perfect.
What worked so well with that one was that you were able to give me literally a pin drop on Google Earth, because that's how if I'm doing it remotely, it will be through Google Earth, because if I can see a satellite image, then I can connect with it. And when it does need to be quite precise. But I hadn't done anything. I'd not done a lot of remote working before that, but that's how I worked out that I didn't have to necessarily be there to do it.
You also did it at Hazel's hand fasting as well. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And that was something amazing, wasn't it? It was literally just, we had thunder and lightning and everything at Avebury, didn't we, beforehand? And it was just ghastly. But for the actual ceremony itself, we had 59 minutes, I think it was, of a circle of blue. It literally was the circle of blue, wasn't it? When you could see all the black clouds circling. And then it was, sort of jump the broomstick, let's see, be merry meet again, and everyone just ran.
But the thing is, I've been to Avebury, so when I've actually been somewhere, again, it's easy because I can imagine myself there.
Yeah, it's that visualization thing again, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, which I know I take for granted. I've realised that. People say, how do you do X? And I'm like, I don't know, I just
imagine yourself there. And that's
it. Yeah. I imagine it being so, and sometimes it is so. Yeah,
that was brilliant though. It really was. It was like a donut of cloud, wasn't it?
And that's what you're trying to do, is literally just make the immediate space you're in, rain free, and just say, well, just go over there a bit. Just
push it out, push the edges out a little bit, fan it out.
But if the heavens are going to completely open, there's only so much you can do, Carry an umbrella. That's practical magic.
I seem to have the opposite with weather, so I can't kind of, once weather's in, I don't seem to be able to get rid of it or get that negative thing. I might try and, sort of might make it stay away a bit longer, possibly. But what I do seem to have the knack of is bringing specific weather in for a very short period of time, which is really quite funny. There's been several occasions where I've, called on, sort of quarters or whatever, and I've specifically wanted thunder or lightning or a downpour or a gust of wind, and I'll get it at those points in time because that's what I want, and that's really nice. And it's just, fleeting, but it's like, yes, they're listening. Those elements are listening, and it just, I don't know, it just brings it all together. I think it kind of rounds it off, and I love that. Absolutely love that. Well, we've got a Tina in. Hello. Hello. What have you got here? Well done, Susie. I usually ask for it to be dry for rituals, and only once did it fail me. Well, that's not bad going, is it? Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So, has there been any other magic going on in your world?
Oh gosh, well, apart from the Blessed Bee, which has been my thing this week. Obviously, I wanted to sell my car, so I did. Looked into, again, you look at the practical stuff. You look at putting an ad on Auto Trader and Gumtree, and I thought I'm going to put an ad on Gumtree because that's how I bought Blessed Bee. I thought fair enough. So I put an ad on there, and someone showed a bit of interest, but nothing came of it. I went up to my stock garage place. I'm up there with the car. For once, I actually took the car in there because I had a whole load of stuff to dump off. And the chap who owned a couple of garages down stuck his head out of his garage and said, "Oh, I've got a spare wheel for one of those. Do you want it?" And I said, "Well, no, actually, because I am selling the car, so I won't need it." He's only buying it off me. So he's buying the car off me.
One wheel and work his way up.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's more of a story behind it, but how bizarre that he should be there, I should happen to be there, and he wants to buy my car.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's just hilarious. It just the thought of, like, I've got a wheel and I haven't got a car, so you might as well have it. Well, actually, I'm selling the car. Yay, I've got a spare wheel.
Well, he did have his own car, but for some bizarre reason, he's a strange little chap, actually, but he likes tinkering around with cars and zooping them up. And this one's for his wife to drive because it's not zooped up, and she might actually be able to get insured to drive it. So, but how lovely. I mean, there's a bit of magic. I'd said to the universe, I really need to get rid of this car. I feel bad about having two. I would like to get the money back on the tax and, all of that, the insurance. I'd like it to go to a good home. I'd like it gone now.
Yeah.
Yay.
But again, it's putting that intention out, isn't it? And I can't stress enough how intention really works, And it's, again, I was talking to my friend at the weekend, and I was talking about some work stuff that I've got coming up, and she said, you've properly manifested this, and it's like, I wanted it, so I've manifested it. And you manifest stuff that you want to turn up. And sometimes it turns up in not quite the expected way, which is good because you do cry, hello. Can't remember your name. That would be not Lex.
It's Lainey.
Lainey. It was an L. Hello. So sometimes these things, sort of will give you a bit of a curveball if you're not specific enough. But if you're mindful about things and you want something, you can manifest it. But it's with intention. You do have to be sure that you are specific with stuff, so you don't end up with things that are either too much or not suitable or whatever.
Exactly.
We've got specifics. It works a treat. So it's all good.
I think the intention part is very important. But what I also realised is it's doing the kind of the magical work and then letting go of the result. Yeah. That is actually at the crux of it, is to put it out there and then forget all about it, because then you've lost the attachment, and it's the attachment that gets in the way. That's an emotional thing. Excuse the list. I'm really bad today. Sore mouth. So by letting go of it and going, I want to sell the car, and then just cracking on with everything. And then bingo, out it comes.
Comes out.
Go with it.
On that, we've had this sort of conversation before, and we were discussing about the ethics of, not ethics, but the practicalities of with candle magic. Do you blow snuff or allow to burn out? And in my mind, that whole thing, for me, depending on what I'm doing, very often I'll choose to blow a candle out because that's my way of finishing something off, blow it into the universe, including the smoke associated with the extinguished flame. but then you kind of blow it into the universe and let the universe deal with it, so that you can just get on with your life while the universe sort of sorts it out. But that's, for me, it's a symbolic thing. It really is like, you deal with it, I'm done. You know,
yeah, I know some people in magic were very anti, you know, you had to snuff things out, and I never really thought that why it matters so much. But I think, again, it depends on what your intention and take on it is, affects the outcome. You know, it's that whole thing about the observer affects the outcome of something, and you do when you're doing magic, very much.
So yeah, but you know, as I say, for something like that specifically, you know, and I want the, you know, I haven't got the answers myself, and I need the universe to deal with it for me. That's specifically when I use the blowing method on a candle. You know, once I've done all the bits and pieces, and you know, it's literally just, you know, I'm done with it. You deal with it, all yours. You know, and it just seems to kind of get it out there, because with a candle, it's the candle. If you let the candle burn down, then the candle dictates when that's done. If I snuff it, it's very, very specific, and it's now and I've done this. But for me, if I blow it, then the universe is taking on the role, and the candle might go out immediately. It might have that little glowy end with a bit of smoke on it for a few seconds or a minute or whatever. But you know, it's a bit more fluid, and that's kind of where I go with that, and that's why I choose to do that. Very often, I'd say, you know, a good 60% of the time I'll blow. So yeah, there you go. So they say. So the other thing I've been up to is, in true witchy poo style, dun, 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 I've made a magic lotion.
Ooh.
Ooh. So on Sunday, there it is. This is, so it's just basically, it's a body lotion, and it's, you know, it's got a shea butter basis on it. But the idea was to either make you know, sort of body lotions or creams or whatever, or to put intent in them for something for you specifically, or to have it as a magical lotion. And I decided that I was going to go for a magical one, and I particularly wanted it to go for creativity. So witchiness and creativity, and the kind of the two things combined. So I was very specific about the essential oils that I added. I did 5 different varieties of oil, 6 drops each into my pot. But it was jolly good fun. It smelled lovely. And so yeah, it was lovely, and it meant that, you know, I was really mindful about what particular properties any of the essential oils that I used had. And there were some that had, because there are always things that will double up. So there'll be something that's for stress relief and calming and whatever. Do you know what I mean? There's always going to be things that will do double up thing. And so yeah, so a lot of the essential oils that I used in that have got kind of dual properties. Not all of them, but some of them had like dual properties, and they had dual properties in several properties in what I specifically wanted, which was basically being, you know, sort of a bit more witchy, like I need it.
That would be
but creative within that, and that's what I wanted specifically, rather than manifesting abundance and money. I didn't want that. I mean, if that happens to turn up at the same time, well, that's a bonus, and that's great, but that's not what I wanted, you know. And there's other people that might have sort of said, you know, well, every time I rub this lotion on my hands, you know, I'm going to go to the shop and win a lottery ticket, you know, or whatever, and that's fine. But I didn't want that. I wanted something specific. I wanted creativity and, you know, sort of all these things, really, just witchcraft related stuff. And yeah, it's great because it kind of, you can class it as a psychosomatic thing if you like. But of course, you've got that whole thing of, you know, whether it's psychosomatic or whether it isn't, whether there's genuine things going on there. If you believe it to be that, then you're halfway there, because that's the thing. It's the intent and the visualization and the belief, and that's what you want. So I've got in there cinnamon, which makes it smell delish. So what else have I got in there? I've got cinnamon and lang-lang,
Oh, that's strong, isn't it?
neroli, patchouli, and something. And I can't remember what the something is.
Added extra.
Yes. Come to me. Oh, ginger.
Wow. So you'll smell halfway between a Christmas pudding and a floral display.
Yes. Yeah. 2 spoons and a squirt of cream, please. It does smell lovely, though. It does. It's that whole. I don't know. It's lovely. I mean, as an incense, it would be lovely, and as a as a cream, it's great. And again, it just sort of sets the mind in what you want. If you're sort of thinking, oh, I think I'll just do so and so, or should I do this or should I not? Just a little bit of that, and it just puts you in the right frame of mind, and that's what I wanted. And it's working a treat. So
That's a bit of work there.
Definitely. So yes. So I forgot to apologise for last week to everybody. Sorry about last week. I was busy. Where was I? Cambridge.
Filming, weren't you?
Yeah, I was filming in Cambridge last week, so apologies for that. But didn't finish till after midnight, so this wasn't happening. It was a long day. So yeah, and I haven't worked out. There's probably a way, I'm sure, but I haven't quite worked out how to put a thing up on YouTube. I did it on Facebook and said not going to be there, but I haven't worked out how to put a thing on YouTube to say won't be there this week.
Oh, right. Did your belt turn up?
Yes, it did. Didn't I tell you?
So I just had a sudden thought of, oh my God, what if it didn't arrive? That's all right,
No,
good.
Yes, I did tell you. Yes, because I love it. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
wearing it tomorrow.
Just don't drop it, because all the beads are glass.
Yeah.
They'll break.
Yeah, it's jolly heavy, isn't it?
Yes, it's solid beads.
Yeah, really. But no, it's got its first outing tomorrow. So I've got work tomorrow daytime. So I'm going to give it its first outing tomorrow. Which is quite exciting. I'm quite looking forward to wearing it.
Funnily enough, some of the sales I've made have been going to film companies and props departments. So obviously there's a massive boom in people getting going again, I guess. Smaller people, I guess you haven't.
Yeah, but even the big companies are getting going again too. They've been on a sort of running on 50% or whatever, and they're properly like, oh, now we can do this and now we can do that.
Yeah,
especially having the people. Yeah, it's gone a bit mad actually. So yeah, which is good from my point of view, but it's busy. So yeah, I suppose coming into it when I did late in the day, as always. Sort of coming in at the tail end of, beginning of lockdown, but it kind of eased me into it gently, I suppose, before the mad rush.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
a little bit easier, but yeah, it's a bit nuts really, but I don't mind. It's all good. It's all good fun, and it is bringing good fun too.
Good.
So yeah. Anyway, so it's getting its first outing tomorrow, and I just hope I haven't lost too much weight to keep it up my hips. I seem to have lost more weight than I was intending to.
I did think it was going to be big. Yeah. It's not changed the size of, so.
No. But hopefully I shan't be walking out of it. That'll be all right. But yeah, everything seems to be hanging on me like a sack at the moment. I don't know what's going on.
You must eat more.
Yeah, I do. I eat loads. And that's the silly thing. And I really do. I pig. And never mind. I'm not complaining, but it is a bit odd. Maybe I'm just a little bit more active. Oh, we've got Cherokee Lee. Hello.
Cherokee Lee.
Oh, looking to see where your camper van is. Can't wait for your adventures. Yeah, she's excited about seeing the blessed bee.
The thing is, I'm good at doing live things, but I'm absolutely appalling at trying to do things and then work out how to make it go onto YouTube. I've had a tech fail somewhere. There's a connection that is not being made, but I will try and do some recordings.
Yeah,
I'll try.
They'll come. So I think you need to have a private moment with her, or private weekend with her, and get to know each other first.
Yes, exactly. Yes, get all the teething troubles out of the way.
Exactly. Before you start touting her on YouTube.
Indeed, but not pimping her out, you know.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, she's not that sort of girl. Yeah, not that sort of girl. Oh dear. Yes. Oh God. So what else have you been up to? I haven't spoken to you for a fortnight, have I?
No, I suppose not, because you've been busy working. No, I've just been my usual busy work, bang, bang sort of thing. Lots of trips to charity shops and boot fairs.
Have you found some treasures?
Yes, I've done quite well. Yeah, I've got quite a few things, so it's kept me quite busy, really. So getting on with stuff, listing it, which is the fun bit, photographing it, and trying to get some sales. But things are a bit quiet at the moment. So, but everyone's out and about. You see, that's why. Perfectly normal.
Yeah, I suppose everyone's enjoying being out and about. Although, of course, one of the nice things is that we're getting to the point of being able to meet up with each other and things at the moment, aren't we? Which is quite nice. So there's, lots of things afoot for, gatherings and open rituals and all sorts of bits and pieces, which is all quite exciting and quite intimidating at the same time.
Yeah, because everything's on at once. So it's like, well, you can't be everywhere, and I can't be disappearing every single weekend. Have a family. Ought to really make my presence known. But yeah, there is this sort of mad rush to kind of do everything. I'm thinking, oh, hang on a minute, that's a bit. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, if you're a single gal like me, even then it's quite a bit much. But as you say, when you've got a family, you've got to temper it, haven't you? And it's the temptation is to say yes to everything because you can go out. Oh, how exciting!
No, I'm the sort of person that's like, yes, I will go out, but then I might need to lie down. Like, oh, Lex is in.
That reticence as well. It's like, I don't know. Do I actually want to? And
I think we'll all become a bit choosy about where we do go, and we think, well, if I don't want to, I'm not going to go.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. And also, I mean, there used to be things where I kind of felt not duty bound to go exactly, but felt that I should go. Just because somebody had been invited me, whether I actually genuinely wanted to go or not. The fact that I'd had an invitation made me feel that I should go. And do you know what I mean? It's one of those things. I don't mean, sort of personal invites to somebody's house. I don't mean things like that.
Yeah, you mean events and
yeah, exactly. But it's that whole thing of like, well, just because it's on doesn't mean that I have to. And as you say, I think people will be a little bit more choosy about it. I think people will be a little bit more choosy about everything generally, actually. I think.
I kind of hope so, because I don't think it's harmful. And as Lexa said, not rushing into Wetherspoons anytime soon. Me neither. We've got a huge Wetherspoons, and I never go in it anyway. So it's like, I try not to.
Yeah. I don't even know where my nearest Wetherspoons is.
Well, there's nothing near you. So that's about 20 miles away, probably. Well, big Apple.
Yeah, there's probably one about 10 miles away. No, I don't know. Well, at Gatwick Airport, there's probably a Wetherspoons.
Oh, there will be. Probably open 24 hours as well.
Yeah. So, yeah. But when all Wetherspoons, I don't actually know where the nearest one is.
Well, I won't be flying off anywhere either, broomstick or otherwise. I will be a UK-based person unless a lot changes quite,
Yeah. I must admit, it was Monday, wasn't it? And they opened all the planes, with some of the plane routes up, didn't they?
Yeah. I
went back to the radio Monday.
No, I didn't realise. I'm sorry, I missed it. I completely forgot.
So yeah, of course I've not been there for a while, but I went back there Monday, and that was quite nice but weird at the same time. But I sort of put the news on and whatever. Because I never listen to the news normally, but I have to play the news while I'm doing the radio. And that in itself was weird, listening to the news, and and then they're like, so people have jetted off on holiday today. I was like, what? What do you mean they've gone on holiday? How peculiar. And it
Oh,
did sound really
Portugal.
bizarre to me. Yeah, and off they went to Portugal and they were interviewing people in Portugal. It's like, that's just
Ooh.
them. And it seemed really, really alien, actually. Pardon the pun. It did. It seemed really, really bizarre that somebody would take themselves out of the country. And I'm sure it's perfectly fine. But to me, it seemed really odd.
Yeah, I can understand because the weather's been so appalling, but I'd quite like to be able to go to France later this year because some friends of mine have got a place over there, so I could take the Blessed Be over. But
Yeah.
if it's not this year, it's not the end of the world. I'm kind of
Yeah. There's other years, isn't there?
wait. I can
Yeah.
wait.
I went to Portugal about 20 years ago and had the most disastrous holiday imaginable. It really was. I mean, I managed to get everything disastrous. If there's a disaster waiting to happen, it waits for me. This holiday was something else. So we stayed in an apartment in a sort of like a hotel complex that had a kitchenette and a balcony. Well, the balcony was triangular, but it wasn't big enough. You know those white plastic chairs that you get, like garden chairs?
Oh, yeah.
I had one of them that was supposed to be for the balcony. When you went in and the balcony door and the curtain was closed, we thought, oh, that there's for the balcony. But when you opened the door and tried to put the chair in the balcony wasn't big enough for all four legs of the chair to be out at the same time. It would only take 3 out of the 4 legs in any direction. So
Not much use for anybody.
But the best point was that I only had my 2 daughters at the time. And so they were in twin beds in the bedroom with an idea of me and my ex-husband having the pull-out bed in the living room, which was fine. Put the children to bed in the evening, lots of wine like you do. Tried to sit on the balcony, that didn't work, sat indoors with the door open. And it got to the point, it's like, well, time for bed. And it was one of those sort of, those flop-out sofa beds that are kind of on the, like the foam basically on the floor.
Horrible, yes.
Yeah, really horrible. And because it was really little, you needed to kind of rearrange the furniture a little bit to make space to pull the bed out. So we went to move the table, which was pushed up against the wall, and the table didn't move. And then we realised after a lot of pulling and tugging that the table wouldn't move away from the wall because it only had 2 legs and was screwed to the wall. And the only way that you could pull the sofa bed out was underneath the table. And then you had a dilemma. Did you have your feet underneath it so you felt like you were in a coffin? Or did you have your top half in so like you're in an air raid shelter underneath the table?
Oh,
I've never slept under a table before. A whole week of sleeping under a table. It was very weird.
yeah.
We had the worst weather. This would be in 1996, I think it was, or 1995, and they had the worst weather in history. This was in the beginning of June, like the Witchin half term. And it was the worst weather they'd had on history, and it didn't make it above 16 degrees all week. Oh my God, it was just freezing. It was like it is here now, cold and wet and miserable. And that coupled with sleeping under the table and had all this balcony, which wasn't really much of a balcony, and all the wires were hanging out of the walls in the children's bedroom. It was just a nightmare. Oh, and it did have a swimming pool, except that they'd emptied it for cleaning purposes. So, it was the worst holiday ever. But the pièce de résistance was we hired a car because it was so wet and miserable. It's like, well, at least we're in the dry. If we're in a car, we're in the dry. And we went trundling about and somehow or another managed to get lost in the woods. And we found this shack that purported to be a cafe. And it was the filthiest, dirtiest place you've ever seen in your life. And girls wanted to go to the toilet. So we took them to the toilet, which had no plumbing. And not only did it have no plumbing, but we found out that this toilet only had 2 walls and no ceiling or roof. Just had 2 walls and a toilet. But it wasn't plumbed in, but there was an old aluminium saucepan tied with a piece of string into a water butt thing that once you'd been to the loo, you just like scooped it and put it down the loo. Anyway, so I said to the girls that they couldn't, and they, you know, like, oh, you want anything? You want anything? So I said, well, you can't have anything, you know, that these people are going to touch, because it was so filthy. And I'm not joking. I'm not being funny, but it was the filthiest thing ever. So I let them have something out of a vending machine, which they did. So they had a couple of drinks each, like a can of something and a Kit Kat or something like that. But for some strange reason, all reasoning completely left my body when I saw something behind this counter, this glass counter, which actually was quite clean. And it was this thing that looked remarkably like marzipan. You know how marzipan's got that sort of yellowy colour, and it's got a sort of glistening gleam to it.
Yeah.
Well, they were these sort of balls about this sort of size, about the size of, not quite as big as tennis ball, about the size of snooker balls. And they were just sitting in this counter. I thought, oh, that's glistening at me, shiny. So complete reason left me. I don't know what happened there. And I thought, oh, it's marzipan. And sometimes, some odd reason, I thought it must be marzipan around something like Battenberg. I know, idiotic, I know. In Portugal, in the middle of the woods. But anyway.
Yeah.
So this woman who had no teeth in her hair thing, she went to take, and I sort of pointed and said to. So she went to take them out and put them in a paper bag. So I'm going, no, on a plate. I wanted them on a plate because I wanted to eat them now. I thought, it's cake. I'm going to eat it now. I don't want it in the bag. So she was looking at me like I was completely mad. And as it turned out, I was. So she put the paper bag away, still looking at me like I'd come down from planet Zog. She reluctantly put them on a plate and handed them over. So I handed over pesos or whatever it was at the time and sat down. And both my husband, my ex-husband, and me both bit into them at the same time to realise that it was rancid cheese.
Oh,
it wasn't at all.
Oh, that's an unexpected taste sensation.
It was very, very, very unpleasant. What right? In the first place, I don't know. Because as I say, I'm looking at this thing thinking, no one's seen soap in 20 old jeans in this place, if that. So it was unbelievable.
No.
Oh, dear. I suppose in a way it was quite a good thing it was inedible. For the simple reason that had I eaten it, if it had tasted nice and I'd eaten it, it might have given me, well, untold tummy troubles. I don't know. But ended up getting spat out, and then we left very shortly afterwards.
Yeah,
to continue on our magical mystery tour, and we were in the car for hours and hours and hours, and we were just totally lost. It was a disaster. The whole holiday,
not to be repeated.
No, and it's kind of put me off Portugal, and I'm sure Portugal's absolutely lovely, but I've got no intention of going back anytime soon.
I'd leave it. I'd let it lie there. To be fair.
Oh,
Lexa said she went to Glastonbury that year, and it was also awful. Lex went to Glastonbury that year. It was also awful. Actually, what she's asking is, what's the next big event in the Witchin calendar?
Oh,
and that would be.
I don't know. Hang on, think.
Midsummer solstice.
Yes, of course it is. Yes. Yes, and that's not that long now, is it? It's what's the date today?
19th of May, so it's basically a month away.
Yeah, basically a month away. Yeah. Oh yes, so it's around about the 21st-ish, isn't it? Is it actually the 21st this year?
I'll have to double check. The thing is, we don't feel like it because the weather's not been.
Yeah, exactly.
True to the spring has been late coming, so it all feels a little bit like. Yeah, so if we have a good spell of decent weather, I think we'll all catch up with ourselves and be more in that. In the right
time for it. Yeah, but I love the summer solstice. I really, really love the summer solstice.
Do you know if you're working then or not? Because you weren't sure before.
I'm not actually sure. I've got quite a lot of stuff coming up, but I haven't got dates for the. I've got dates for the beginning of June, but I haven't got dates from the middle of June onwards. So I'm not quite sure.
A bit early.
Yeah, it's a bit early yet.
But I think it's time to get naked in a field. It's like being naked in the field isn't always a good idea.
Depends whether the field's next to the motorway or
What else is in the field with you?
exactly.
You
Yeah.
as pals.
Yeah, exactly. In the private field, maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I absolutely love the summer solstice. I really do, and it's such a short night, isn't it? I tend to, if I
Yeah.
can, sort of enjoy the sunset and then just stay up and then watch the sunrise. And then once it's up, I'm like, well, that's that then, go to bed. So yeah,
Yeah.
wake up midday sometime, on the next day and go, oh yeah, it's past the summer solstice, early nights.
I'd love to be at Avebury for that. I mean, I'm not bothered about being at Stonehenge, but I'd love to be at Avebury or somewhere else a bit like that. You know, lower key but special.
Yeah, that would be lovely, actually, wouldn't it? Ooh.
We'll see.
Ooh, yeah, we will see. I think it's a Monday. If it's the 21st, it'll be a Monday. And that's when everything, according to the roadmap, is supposed to be properly back open again, isn't it? But
Yes, of course, yes. That is a Monday, isn't it?
yeah.
Let me just check. Sorry, it's a bit rude to Google while I'm live, but seeing as we're here.
As we're here, might as well.
Hang on. Technical fault. Hang on. There we go. Right, midsummer. Solstice 2021. Oh no, it actually says it is actually this year. It is on Monday, the 21st of June.
Oh, it is.
At 4:31 in the morning.
So that's the Sunday going into.
Yeah, Sunday going into Monday.
Will the kids be back at school by then? They will, won't they?
Oh gosh, yes, because half term is literally the first week in June. So
Right.
yeah, no kids about.
Well, theoretically.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Susie's saying there's places that she doesn't want mozzie bites, so won't be dancing naked in fields.
Yeah. You
Oh, I don't
wouldn't be
know.
scratching
Mozzie
there.
says in small, they can disappear wherever they feel like it, can't they? They wiggle their way to where you don't want them.
Usually up a trouser leg.
Yeah, or down a sock.
Always the ankles.
Oh, they love ankles, don't they? What is it about ankles and blooming mozzies? They love them. Yeah, good. Also Father's Day.
Yeah. Mind you, we never really celebrated Father's Days and things. My father's birthday would have been on June the 9th. That's going to be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah, I mean, anyone who's lost a father is going to find Father's Day tricky, I'm sure.
Yeah, not everyone.
Yeah.
Lots of people, though. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? So if that's the case, that also, on the plus side, might also mean that it's slightly quieter out and about.
Exactly, and what better time to celebrate something rather than be miserable? Yes, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, Lainey's dad's was June the 11th. Oh, the Geminis, you never quite knew where you were with them sometimes.
Yeah. My daughter's birthday, actually, she's the one that's in Australia. She's the 12th.
Oh, right.
Yeah, 12th of June. And my granddaughter's birthday is the 2nd of June. She's an odd little girl, she is. Proper odd little odd. Yeah, so she'll be 5 on the 2nd. Well, Levy pops 5. Shocking.
Yeah. My son will be 15 this year. Oh, that's so scary.
Yeah.
And
My daughter's 31. That's really scary.
Yeah, well, you did have a head start on me, that's for sure.
I did, but it's like, how did this 31-year-old be my daughter? It's
Yeah.
very strange. Yeah.
You know what? My husband actually bought my son an electric razor.
Really?
14 and a half.
Wow.
It's like, well, he reckons he doesn't need it yet, but there's definite. I said, well, and fluff.
Yeah. Wow.
There we go. I thought, well, so at least you're prepared, and he'll
Yeah.
be able to give you some pointers, because that's really not my area.
Not, no. Lee says, her son will be 31. Just behind mine then, my daughter. So she's my oldest one. She was 31 in January. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Well, we've been waffling on for an hour or so, and it's just gone 9 o'clock. So it's time for us to say cheerio, really. Should be back in next Wednesday. I'm not booked out for anything next Wednesday, so hopefully nothing will come up, so it will be all good. And yes. And you'll have some more experience with the SUV because your car will have gone.
Quite possibly, yes. I will certainly have driven it, and I'll have put some petrol in it. Not diesel petrol. I have to remember that too. Mustn't put diesel in a petrol car. Not good.
No, they don't like it.
The petrol cap's on the other side. So everything's the other way round.
It's wrong way round, yeah. Was that one? My son will be 28 in July and wondered why the dryer wouldn't work. Oh dear. And he hadn't shut the door. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh dear. Well, that was a bit of a sharp learning curve, wasn't it?
That's how we learn.
Hopefully he's learned. Anyway, everybody, have a lovely, safe week. Enjoy yourselves. Keep witching. Enjoy yourselves. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next week.
Cheerio. See you next time.